All right, today we're going to be factoring of the form x squared plus bx plus c. As always, here are your state standards to review. And to be successful today, you need to be able to identify the three terms of a trinomial. You need to be able to factor polynomials of the form x squared plus bx plus c. And you need to be able to explain how to use b and c to find binomial factors of a polynomial x squared plus bx plus c. All right, some key ideas that you need to be familiar with. I would make sure you have these written down. It just kind of helps you review these and commit them to memory. All right, so factoring x squared plus bx plus c when c is positive. So when your constant term is positive, you're going to have x plus p times x plus q. All right, so here's an example. X squared plus 6x plus 5. All right, so x plus 1 times x plus 5. You can see both of these are positive, and your c is positive, and therefore both signs in your binomials will be positive. All right, so if we have x squared minus 6x plus 5, we're going to have x minus 1 times x minus 5. So you can see that they're going to have the same sign. Okay, when c is positive, p and q have the same sign as b. b is your middle term, remember. bx, b is the middle term. All right, when c is negative. All right, when c is negative, they're going to have opposite signs. P and q will have different signs. All right, so here's an example. X squared minus 4x minus 5. To multiply to get negative 5, you're going to have a positive and a negative. All right, concept summary. Factoring x squared plus bx plus c as x plus p times x plus q. All right, so the diagram shows the relationships between the signs of b and c and the signs of p and q. This may be helpful for me if you're good at multiplication. Factoring comes very easy for people who are good at multiplication. If you're good at multiplication, that means you have a good number sense and you see how numbers work together. If you are not good at multiplication, factoring tends to be hard for those people. All right, let's look at some examples. Factoring when b and c are positive. All right, so we're going to rewrite this in factored form. All right, so what is factored form? So factored form is just another way to rewrite this. This is in standard form. We've looked at factored form the last couple lessons, so hopefully you know what I'm talking about when I talk about factoring. All right, so this is a trinomial. X squared is your first term, 10x is your middle term, and 16 is your third term. So 3 terms, this makes this a trinomial. So I'm going to factor this into 2 binomials. All right, to do that, I have to say what multiplies times itself to give me x squared. Well, that would be x times x. And then I have to find all of my factors, everything that multiplies together to give me 16. And then I need that to add up to give me 10. So what you can do is quickly make a table and look at all the numbers that multiply to give you 16. So 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 3 does not go into 16, 4 and 4 is 16, 5 does not go, 6 does not go, 7, 8, 8 and 2 is already on there, so that's all of my factors of 16. All right, now I need 2 of these that add up to give me 10. 1 and 16 does not give me 10. 2 and 8 gives me 10. 4 and 4 give me 8. So I can see quickly that I'm going to have plus 2 and plus 8. All right, so x times x is x squared. X plus 8 is 8x, plus 2x is my 10x in the middle, and 2 times 8 is 16. So factored form is equivalent to standard form. Again, it's just written in a different format. All right, example B, x squared plus 7x plus 16. I'm going to go from my trinomial to 2 binomials again. I'm going to have x times x is x squared. And what multiplies to give me 6? Well, that would be 1 and 6, 2 and 3, and then 3 and 2. So that's my only factors of 6. What adds up to give me 7? 1 and 6 is 7. 2 and 3 is only 5. So I know this is going to be plus 1 and plus 6. Again, you can check it by quickly multiplying. X times x is x squared. X times 6 is 6x, plus 1x is 7x. 1 times 6 is 6. So again, you can see that factored form is equivalent to standard form. All right, moving on to C part, we have x squared plus 12x plus 27. Again, we're going to go from our trinomial in standard form to 2 binomials in factored form. So again, x times x is x squared. This is the easiest way to factor when there's no number, there's no coefficient in front of your x squared. So we will look at more factoring later in the chapter, but right now, this is the easiest form of factoring. So when a is just a perfect square, it's easy to write that down right off the bat. All right, so then you have to find your other numbers in your factor. So what are my multiples of 27? So I've got 1 and 27. 2 doesn't go into odd numbers. 3 goes into it 9 times. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 does not. 9 is the next one. So that leaves us 3 and 9 to give us 12. So x plus 3 and x plus 9 are my two factors. Again, if you're good at multiplication, this should be a breeze. If you're not, just practice multiplication. It can get easier. All right, so x times x is x squared. X times 9 is 9x, plus 3x is 12x. 3 times 9 is 27. All right, moving on to example 2, factoring x squared plus bx plus c when b is negative and c is positive. So our middle term is negative and our constant term on the end is positive. So how does that change? So now we have to look at the signs a little bit closer. We're still going to go from a trinomial to 2 binomials, and I still have x squared as my leading term, so I'm going to do x times x, and now I need to get a plus 12, but I have to add to get negative 8 in the middle. So I've got to be cautious of my signs at this point. So I'm going to have 1 and 12, and I have 2 and 6, 3 and 4. 5 does not go into 12. 6 does 2 times. All right, now think about the signs. What multiplies to give me a positive 12? Either 2 positives or 2 negatives. All right, so 2 positives or 2 negatives. In order to get a negative 8 in the middle, I'm going to have 2 negative signs. 2 negatives can multiply to give me a positive 12, and 2 negatives can add to give me a negative 8 in the middle. So I'm going to have a negative 2 and a negative 6 to get negative 8. Again, this would be negative 7, and this would be negative 13, so that would not work. So I'm going to have negative 2 and negative 6. All right, so x times x is x squared. X times negative 6 is negative 6x. Negative 6x plus negative 2x is negative 8x. Negative 2 times negative 6 is positive 12. So you can quickly see that, again, factored form does in fact equal or is equivalent to standard form. All right, moving on to B part. W squared minus 4w plus 3. All right, quickly going to go straight to my 2 binomials where I have w times w equals w squared. All right, what multiplies to give me 3? Well, 1 and 3 is the only factors of 3. Again, 3 is positive, so it's got to be plus plus or negative negative. To have a negative 4 in the middle, I know that both of these have to be negative. All right, so w times w is w squared. W times negative 3, negative 3w plus negative 1w gives me my negative 4. W in the middle, negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. 2 negatives always multiply to give you a positive number. All right, C part says n squared minus 12n plus 35. So if I want to factor this, I'm going to have two binomials. I'm going to have n times n, and I need to find my multiples of 35. So I'm going to have 1 and 35. I don't know why I put 35 first, but it doesn't matter. All right, so 35 and 1. 2 doesn't go into odd numbers. 3, 4. We've got 5 and 7. 6, and then we're back to 7. So that's all my factors of 35. I need a negative 12. So again, I'm going to have two negatives when I multiply to get positive 35 and negative 12 in the middle. So I'm going to have negative 5 and negative 7. Again, very easy to check. Use distributive property or FOIL method. N times n is n squared. N times negative 7 is negative 7n plus negative 5n. Negative 7 plus negative 5 is negative 12n. Negative 5 times negative 7 is positive 35. Factoring is a great way to brush up on your multiplication skills. Example 3, factoring x squared plus bx plus c when c is negative. All right, so again, we're doing exactly the same thing. We just have to be careful with our signs because now c is negative. How do we get a negative number when we multiply? That means we have to have opposite signs. All right, so let's get started. All right, so we're going to have x times x is x squared. And then we need to know our numbers that factor or multiply to give us 21. All right, so we got 1 and 21. 2 doesn't go into odd numbers. We got 3 and 7, 4, 5, 6, and that's it. That's all of our factors. All right, again, when c is negative, what does that mean? To multiply to get a negative 21, we have to have a plus and a minus. Now you have to be cautious of which one is positive and which one is negative. I need a positive 4. So that means the bigger number has to be positive in order to get a positive 4. All right, so 1 and 21 is not even close to 4. 3 and 7, if we have a negative 3 and a plus 7, that adds to give us negative 4. It also multiplies to give us negative 21. All right, so we're going to have negative 3 and positive 7. Again, quickly, you can check this. X times x is x squared. Plus 7x minus 3x gives me positive 4x. Negative 3 times positive 7 gives me negative 21. All right, B part's going to be very similar. We're going to have x times x, what multiplies to give me negative 15. I need a positive and a negative here. I'm going to have 1 and 15, 3 and 5. And 3 and 5 give me 2, so I need a negative 3 and a plus 5. All right, check it. X times x is x squared. X times 5 is 5x. 5x minus 3x is 2x. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. All right, example C, v squared minus v minus 42. This time I have two negative signs, all right? So, same concept, v times v is v squared. What multiplies to give us 42? And actually, we're looking for a negative 42. So we know we're going to have a plus and a minus sign. All right, so 42 is 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14, and 6 and 7. So all of these multiply together to give me 42. Now I know I need one positive and one negative, and in the middle I need a negative 1. 6 and 7 are 1 apart. Which one has to be negative in order for the negative to be in the middle? So positive 6 minus 7. 6 minus 7 is negative 1. 6 times negative 7 is negative 42. So I'm going to have plus 6 and minus 7.